alaikum and welcome to Lifestyle with me Zainab and my friend Roya.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Roya. Of course, welcome to Lifestyle. My friends and I tend to open a new window to She's Lifestyle through this program. We really like to have you during this journey. Give us a chance to introduce you a life with Islamic style. Of course, during this program, we are going to have a lot of items and segments that I'm sure everybody gonna enjoy.
Yeah, we'll be with you from now on with a collage of not only guests but different topics from family raising to different controversial issues that everybody's dealing with today in this world. We are not alone. We will be with some other sisters, all right?
Yes.
We will have another segment.
Yes.
Raise your voice. Yes. Ms. Nasrin, Sister Nasrin.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our program Lifestyle. I will be your liaison here on the program, bridging the gap between our viewers around the world and us here at the studio. So whatever you have that you would like to share with us, or if you have ideas for the show, something to improve it, something that you'd like to learn, something that you'd like to see shared. For example, maybe you have a recipe that's been distributed through the family tree, and you'd like to share it with us, or you'd like the whole community to know about it. And maybe you have some hadiths about health, or something from Islam or from culture, something from your lifestyle. Maybe you have images or videos from your family that you would like to the world to know, because when we practice Islam, we like to hear other people's perspectives. And of course, there's nothing like a video or a picture, an image to portray that. And nobody ever gets bored of seeing other people and their unique or original ideas and how they incorporate the hadith or the Quran in their lifestyle. And particularly when raising children, we all have challenges. Maybe it's a hadith and how that you have yourself brought that hadith into your life. So anyway, whatever it is, whether it's a question maybe that you want an answer to, please share it with us, and you can share it through us through social media too. So over back to the sisters.
Thank you very much. Of course, today we have a full house. Let's go to our dear chef, Fatima.
Yes, we will have a very delicious segment in our program. It is really, really delicious, and this is my favorite because I am foodie and I have a sweet tooth. Let's see what do we have. Sister Fatima, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, dear sisters. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Thank you all for tuning in and watching Lifestyle today. Inshallah, I'm not a professional chef, but I'm very passionate about cooking and baking, and I'm a big foodie. So today, inshallah, we're going to have a surprise recipe. I'm not going to reveal it now. I'm going to let it for a few more minutes.
Yeah, we'll be back. Yeah.
So, of course, today we are blessed to have Ms. Shamili, who is a researcher in field of family and women studies. So we are blessed to have her here. Yeah. So thank you very much for your presence, of course, in advance.
Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for having me.
She is also, a mother as well as an expert and a wife, and mashallah, sister. Welcome.
Thank you very much, thank you. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
How are you?
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for your presence.
So tell us more about our topic today. It's challenging, what is faith and the role of faith or religion in raising your children, the effect of faith and religion and different aspects of life, of course, but this is a very controversial issue, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I know that the significant role of religion and raising a child, for me, as a child or even as a parent. So for me, it's religion or faith. It's better to say faith is kind of a rock that I lean on when I am so distraught, or it is like actually a supernatural power that helps me to keep myself together. Or of course, sometimes it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. But honestly, so it's all that I know about it. So that would be really great if we could get more information about it.
As she said, a rock to lean on or a light at the end of the tunnel that, you know, when you're lost, that you look through that light and you get to find the way, you know, when you're lost in this world.
Yeah.
In this world that we're always so busy, the machine life that we have, you know,
Yes.
sometimes we lose track of our lives,
Yes.
of the true meaning of our lives. So religion, as you two said, gives you, defines for you, establishes for you a foundation,
Yes.
your value system. In other words, what is good, what to do, what is bad, what to not do. What
You
to
mean
not
do's
do.
and don'ts?
The do's and don'ts. For example, nowadays, in many societies, even in underdeveloped societies, women are after going, you know, pursuing higher degrees of education.
Yeah.
They want to get their bachelor's, after that the master's, and then their PhDs. So they postpone their marriages.
Yeah.
And even when they do get married, they're like, no, you know, obviously if they haven't gotten like their academic degrees, they would like to go to universities and pursue higher degrees of education. But if you look through the lens of religion, you get to have a different perspective to life. Because in this world that we're living in, value is in having a higher social status, a better, a more paid job,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So mothering is a kind of drawback. You know, it stops you from gaining more money, from having a better social status. From the materialistic worldview, mothering is a drawback. It's not good, right?
Yes.
It's an anti-value, in other words.
Exactly.
So, for example, if you look at the historical records, if you look at because Islam is a religion that is enriched. It's rich with a lot of traditions, with a lot of ahadith, with a lot of historical accounts, starting from the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, until the times that we had our 12 infallibles, the 12 imams that we had. For example, at the time of the noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there were many wars that were imposed on the noble Prophet, and men had to attend the wars to defend themselves, their families, and their religion.
Definitely.
So a lady came to the noble Prophet and said that, well, all the men get to win all the rewards. They get to go to the wars, they get to have a higher spiritual status, and even when they get martyred, they would have a very, very lofty spiritual status in the eyes of God. What about us women?
Yeah.
We're missing on so many good things,
It's not
right?
fair.
Exactly, it's
Not
not
at all.
fair. So the Holy Prophet,
Miss Shamili, so I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you because we
Sure.
want to have a actually check on the kitchen.
sure.
Okay, so today we are going to do cinnamon buns
Oh,
or
excellent
cinnamon
choice.
rolls.
Excellent choice.
So the recipe that I'm going to do today is it's pretty versatile. It's quite easy.
Yes.
We're going to start with half a cup of lukewarm water.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And we are going to mix into that 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. So the one that I'm using is instant yeast. Yeah.
Yes.
So 2.5 teaspoons
Yes.
of yeast
Yeah.
to the lukewarm water. Yeah.
Okay.
And then to this, we are going to add. So yeast is a live ingredient, right?
Yes.
So in order for it to sort of like activate,
Yes.
we need to use sugar. And first of all, dear friends, remember to proof your yeast, because if you are using yeast that is not actually active, you are going to have to throw all of that ingredient away, and it's going to be israf. We don't want to do that.
Oh my
right?
God, yes.
So we have 1/3 cup of sugar.
So 1 cup of sugar.
1/3 cup of sugar, yeah?
That doesn't sound too much.
No.
Does it? Okay.
And we're just going to add a little bit of this 1/3 of a cup to this ingredient to activate our yeast, and we're going to leave the rest for inside the dough.
Okay.
All right.
That's great.
So basically, we have to actually give this yeast some time to bubble up and become all magical and wonderful.
Yes, that's
So
right.
maybe you can go to Sister Nasreen.
Yes,
and we
of
can
course.
wait
So
for-
while you're cooking, so of course we go to Nasreen, dear sister. So do you want to let us know what you have prepared for us for today?
effects of faith on raising children?
Yes, viewers. This topic about faith and bringing up children, you know, what can we add to that, as well as what Sister Razia has said? Well, the thing is that if we don't have, let's say, the deen of Islam, because Islam is not a religion, it's a lifestyle. If we don't have this, how do we know how to govern our life, how to give structure to our life? How do we what do we turn to when we have problems, when we have, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's spiritual, you know, because Allah has made our life, every part of our life, one, like Allah is one. So if we don't have something to govern our life with, then we're sort of like pulling at straws here and there. This might work, that might work. How are they doing it? Nobody else knows but Allah, because He created us. So that's how I really see the whole aspect of bringing up children should be like a Muslim is, living their lifestyle in Islam. So there's no separation between raising a child and living, because that child's going to become the fruit of the tree. We're the tree, the parents of the tree, or specifically the mother, the father's the seed, and the children the fruit. So whatever we are, that child becomes. And if we don't have, if we speak Islam and we're not practicing it, that child is going to know, because there's nothing like a child to point out hypocrisy. And if we're not living what we're saying, there's nothing like, oh, your child to tell you that. And then there's going to be a rift. And that's where we get the generation gap. Because we start to teach our children, okay, this is what, you know, we start to point and pull from society. And society is not necessarily correct. In fact, the majority is not correct. So we're teaching our children the wrong things. Oh, what if they see you? What will they think? Who cares what they think? Allah is the one that matters.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very much.
Thank you. Let's continue our discussion. It was a very, you know, of the moment, the very moment I wanted to know, all right, the answer of the noble prophet.
Yeah, so this lady was looking for an answer to a question. So the noble prophet said, from the time that you become pregnant until the time that you deliver your child, you are struggling, you're fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, from the time you start breastfeeding until the time that you wean your child, you are struggling in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you die in this period, you're considered a martyr.
Wow.
So, you know, this means that Islam gives a very specific, unique, significant status to parents. Because of the role, as Sister Nasreen said, because of the roles that parents play in the life of a child.
So of course, we're going to go for a break. So we're going to go for a break. It's about 10 minutes. It's discussion time. Stay tuned. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy that.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hi everyone, welcome. So I want to do the responsibility of saying hello and welcome to everybody. I really like this job to say hello to everyone and welcome. So my friend said it's rush hour and that's why a lot of people couldn't make it. So I guess we owe you, a huge thanks for being here. So, okay, welcome here. I hope to have a good discussion. Try to be as talkative as you can. So that's it.
Because we fill the empty places of the others.
Yes, that's great.
All right. Okay, in the name of Allah, the merciful, the compassionate. Today's topic is about the effects of religion on child training and parenting, as well as family life. As all of you know, the training of the children will start from the onset stages. Children need the best of everything from the very beginning. They need health security, intellectual and emotional security. From the very beginning, the parents should consider all of these needs and should satisfy all of them. We have in Islam some rules and rituals that if we follow them, we can affect the psyche and the physical development of the children. Something like the food and the nutritions that the mother used during the pregnancy, and something that related to pre-birth of the child. And we have some other rules and rituals about the children after their birth, like naming, that is very important, and it will affect the characteristic of the children. And we have lots of things that you are going to share your ideas about them. About the mother's feeding, and also about every other rituals that we're gonna talk about that. All right, I asked the new father of this session, yeah.
Okay, about this, I think it starts from right the period that mother is pregnant. Okay, if you want to train your children, if you want to teach something to your children, it starts from there. You know, this is the first step, and from then on, it's going to be very difficult. The bacon, the bread that father brings home, okay, if it's just made of from halal path, from halal way, or the money, the food, whatever, okay? These are things that people ignore nowadays, and they think that only by sending children to schools and just training them in different educational centers, they can have a good baby, but they're all wrong. It's not all about these centers. It's about the way you train your children from the first day of pregnancy to the end of it, and from then on, and different stages.
Well, as you said, the thing we worry about before, what name you're going to give the child. Before you didn't know, is it a boy or girl? Now they tell you in advance, you know, you're having a boy or a girl, whether it's a gay, they don't know yet. So we hope it is either a female or a male, right? So because we have a tradition from our Holy Prophet, he said that the name is one of the right a child has, and to teach it manners, and to teach it to read the Quran. So the name, they said, if a child has a name which is sometimes related to bad people or has a bad meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never pleased when you call that child, and shaitan is laughing. So the name is important, and of course the manners. When our Holy Prophet was said, what is Islam? He said, manners. If a child has good manners, and they have to be put in the minute it's born, you know, they feel how the family behaves, how the husband, like they say, for the father, if you want to do good to your children, then love their mother. And then there's harmony in the house. And when there's chaos in the house, the child grows up with chaos, and it cannot develop properly, and the intellect is distorted.
Yeah. I really like what you said. In some places, I mean, I couldn't get it, I couldn't agree, but generally I believe in that. I think religion has such an effective role in everything, especially training a child. So I think religion never goes wrong as long as you follow the rules or the holy book. I think it can never you can never miss the way. Yeah. There is all the time something. Even if you are in a tunnel, still there is light at the end of the tunnel. We can find a way.
Can I bring up a new discussion that goes into religion and might open a can of worms as well? Do we really need to use religion in training our children? Like you have atheists who say teaching religion to our children is equal to child abuse. We should not be allowed to teach our children religion in schools. And when it comes to debate, when it comes to teaching science in schools between evolution and creationism, so evolution is mostly, there's a debate between evolution and creationism, whatever is correct. That's not obviously the topic of a discussion today, but they say that whenever the topic of creationism comes about, the atheists argue very strongly and say we should not even teach our children creationism because that takes them to the belief of God. So according to them, we should completely remove religion in parenting. And that's a big issue today. Should we allow our children to be brought up in religion, or should we remove religion and let the child decide when they're 18 years old?
My home environment was the opposite of the school environment, but that helped them. They were teaching Christianity in school, and they didn't have to take part in it, but I said, do take part in it. It is the diversity of life which makes us tolerant, tolerate other people, their opinion. So whenever they heard at school, like my son, when he was 5 years old, he came home, he said, you will not believe what my teacher said today. But I didn't argue with her because you can't teach her. He said, he was 5 years old. He said, my teacher said, that was in England. No, he was born in England. He said, one day we will see God. Oh my God, he said, is somebody walking around? It's still a child, is 5 years old. It will only know parents. And parents representing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth to bring up a child is, what is Allah? Allah is what love. Love and discipline. So discipline and love gives you power. A child will obey you not because it's afraid of you, no, because it loves you. It loves the mother. And mother said, don't do it, but she should stick to it. When she says no, it should be no. That's very, very important, especially the first 5 years. A child, the first time you say no, it say, oh yeah, I can't do that. It will not go near.
A sage said that the training of the children has been started 20 years before the birth of the child, and when you think that after the birth you think that you couldn't or you didn't get the result of it, think that you should start even before that 20 years.
You see, what is our life basically? It is all vibration. Right? Like a baby in the womb, it can hear, but everything is based on vibration. What the mother does, what she eats, everything has an influence on the child. And that is why they say that the child to learn the mother tongue is easy, because it is used to 9 months with that vibration of that language.
If we have religious training, it will contain all kind of the other trainings like psychological, emotional, and sexual, and the other kind of trainings.
So basically can put it down to two things. One is we have to learn how to make a living, or put the other one first, and the other one how to live. How to live. It is not easy to live a life, you see, like Imam Ali said, a life without wisdom is not at all pleasing. Some people have knowledge, but that just creates a veil for them because they have not understood the knowledge to put it into practice. What is knowledge if you don't practice? That means you don't know it. Otherwise, and it's the wisdom. But we have to. That is why, like you say, we have to be trained in many subjects to make a living. Yeah. And how to live is another knowledge. And without Quran, the darkness of human life cannot be understood. Yeah. Without Quran, we cannot understand human life, what it is about, what is the psychology, nothing can be understood without the Quran.
What about the adulthood? When we get to the age that we understand and we can use our minds, then we can have choices to read the books, to search, to survey, to find that where is, to look for the right way. I think this is the answer.
And Quran proves it that we have no excuse, because it says that on Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to listen to any rubbish he heard it all before. And then they said to a holy prophet, he said, but prophet, Allah is merciful, he's not going to listen to our excuse. He said, no, because you have none. That's why he's not going to listen to our excuse, because we have none.
There is none.
If you have given an independent mind, and you have the environment when you really study Islam, which we should know Islam. It's the duty of everyone to know Islam, not to say, I have other things to do. No, if you don't know, you will be judged for your ignorance. Okay, and at the same time, if you don't practice what you do know, Allah will take you to account.
If a person believes to a godly religion, and for example to Christianity, and be a good Christian, inshallah. It depends on Allah Himself.
And they are all names, because I think
Maybe down to the
all
heaven.
religion carry the same things.
Yeah.
I mean, honesty is recommended by all religion.
Yeah.
Musa brought the same.
Heavenly.
We just
Yeah.
we are just final prophet. Our prophet has finalized the religion of Adam, but the book is saying, but they distorted it. What can we do? They made Jesus God out of Jesus. You know, who, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It didn't make sense to me when I was a child. And they're still saying it after 2,000 years. They're still saying Jesus is Son of I don't get it, you know?
Yes, but the responsibility of the Muslims is higher than the
She
others
used
because
to
they
try
have the
to
most
preach.
perfect source for Quran and Ahlul Bayt alayhim
He's
assalam.
going to have
Yes,
a
Mr. Suhail. Yeah.
No, I'm having it in a good way. I say as a child, she would drive the priest crazy.
No, I wanted to be free, think free.
Someone asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that what will happen to a person who knows nothing about religion, knows nothing about all the scripture, prophet, nothing. Okay, what's going to happen to him? Imam said it's by no means possible because Allah left no slave of him on the ground without giving ultimatum.
So, Ms. Wali, do you have anything to add?
I'm actually a bit confused.
Why?
Because on one hand we said, in the discussion it was said that every person has independence as to the religion they choose. So why do we have to teach them religion if they're going to be allowed to choose themselves? And the other hand that we say that every religion, we can choose, every religion is one. Like at the end of the day, every religion has a few things that are similar in them.
Yes.
So if a child is taught Christianity, we still have us as Muslims who will be opposing that those teachings that are taught to them, like Sister Fatima said, Jesus is the Son of God does not make sense. So if a Christian parent is going to teach the child those values, am I going to say that what you're teaching your child is wrong, and therefore your religion is wrong, therefore you teaching religion to your child is wrong? So on one hand we are saying teaching your child religion, which is not according to our values and concepts, is wrong. On the other hand we are saying they have their own independence, so they have their own freedom of thought and they should work to search for themselves.
Welcome back here, Lifestyle, with me, Zainab, and other sisters. All right, we are going to give you the opportunity in one segment we have. Raise your voice with Sister Nasrin. Okay, sister, the floor is with you.
Thank you, Sister Zainab. Well, yes, every week we're going to bring to the program all the ideas and all the whatever you shared on social media with us. So that means on Instagram, and all the numbers and addresses are on the screen as you see. So please, we want you to be a part of this program. It makes it more dynamic, it makes it more fresh, and it makes it your program. So if you have something about raising children in Islam, we all have our perspectives on what we've done, what worked, what absolutely didn't work. And I think those we have a lot, what didn't work in raising children. And especially when it comes to Islam, you know, it's something that is very personal, and yet there's this feeling that like we have to be perfect, and yet nobody is. So it's like, no, how close can we come in employing the you know, the verses of the Quran, the teachings of our Ahlul Bayt, and to turn to them, actually, because the Ahlul Bayt are our relationships. So if we connect, then we're in a network. We're not raising our children ourselves, we're raising them with the Ahlul Bayt, actually. So yeah, as I said, please send in your comments and your experiences of whatever you go through, and tips. We all need those.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Definitely,
great. Sure,
right,
why not?
yeah.
So I think it's a very good time to go to the kitchen. I
Yeah,
think Fatima
let's
needs a
check
little
out the
time.
kitchen
So what's
because-
it going with the cinnamon roll?
All right, so if the camera, it can show it, the yeast has completely bubbled, and it's alive.
Yes.
Yay, it's alive. So it's ready to, so it's actually safe to work with. So this was half a cup of milk, with 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. To that, I'm going to add about half a cup of water. So I'm going to measure it here because this is my measuring cup. So remember I said we need 1/3 cup of sugar. I took 2 teaspoons from the sugar and I added it inside the yeast to actually proof it. So I'm just going to add the rest of the sugar here. Okay, I need to crack 1 egg. And I'm just going to whisk it lightly to make sure that it's sort of not so eggy. And I'm going to add that to the mixture.
Make sure the egg is not eggy.
Yeah, the egg is not eggy. The egg is not like the yolk and the egg white is not separate, yeah? So we're just going to add that. We're just going to whisk it a little bit more. And then, so here, alhamdulillah, we have a stand mixer. But if you don't have a stand mixer, don't worry. Of course, if you bake a lot, I really suggest and recommend that you invest in a good quality stand mixer. Otherwise, you can always go the old way and use your hands. Your God-given power of hand.
Go in between, you know. Use a whisk,
yeah,
use
you can
a fork.
always. You know, a lot of like great chefs, they use, even if they have like the best, highest quality stand mixers, they always use their hands for the dough because then they will know if it's like actually the right consistency and all that. So I'm just going to make sure that the sugar is coming out. All right.
Well, we make our chapatis with our hands, don't we?
Mm-hmm. I actually always work with my hands.
I do too.
I'm not comfortable using like gloves and stuff. All right, so we have 1/3 cup of butter, which is room temperature, all right? Make sure that you have room temperature butter. Do not add cold butter to this recipe. I'm just gonna put it inside. So when we start mixing this recipe, and we're not gonna waste, right? So we're gonna scrape everything, the buttery goodness.
What happens when you put the cold butter in?
So when you put the cold butter, there's egg inside there, right? It's never going to actually incorporate inside the recipe. You can actually add like a little warmer than room temperature butter, softened butter.
Yes.
All right. So I'm also going to put like 2 pinches of salt just to bring out the flavor of everything, all right? I don't really measure, so I'm just going to eyeball it. All right. So we're gonna turn on our stand mixer and get this mixing on low.
It's so silent.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
actually, I
nice.
don't want to distract because we are going to eat it, so I don't want to have nothing. All right, that's why I'm trying to keep quiet.
All right. So for this recipe, we've actually used all the ingredients that we want. We only need to add 3 3/4 cups of flour. We're gonna add that gradually. We're not gonna add like dump it all in. So this is 3 3/4 cups of butter that I'm just gonna add like 1 cup at a time, or 1 and 2 cups at a time. And remember, it depends on which altitude you live in, how much butter you need to use. Sometimes you're gonna have to use like 4 cups, sometimes 3.5 cups. You just have to eyeball it and you're gonna get the hang of it. So I'm just gonna mix it enough so we don't have like flour separate, and because we're gonna be adding more flour.
So what kind of flour are you
All right, so here I'm using all-purpose flour, but to make it a little healthier, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. You can use wheat flour, of course, it's much healthier. Bran flour. So I'm going to add about
Isn't white flour one of the causes of diabetes, actually?
It is actually. It's better. It's always best to use wheat, like whole wheat flour.
And of course, as we're talking about, wheat, it's one of the first things, if we're going to Surah Yasin, so first thing mentioned as far as food is concerned in the Quran, the grain.
You're right.
So the most important thing is to get the grain, and if we're baking, we might as well use the whole wheat. It's not...
Yeah, but I wonder why such delicious, sweets and things are always not very healthy.
Yeah.
Cinnamon rolls are
contradictory,
honestly,
sort of like
healthy.
healthy sweets. All right, so I'm gonna
We can make them healthy.
I'm gonna add the rest of the butter. All right, now in order to make this healthy, I always add bran to my recipes. So I'm just going to add about 2 tablespoons of wheat bran to the flour, because I wasn't using brown flour, right? Just 2 tablespoons. And then if you want to, because we use the egg, we are going to need vanilla. So we're just going to use a few drops of vanilla. But remember, brothers and sisters, vanilla, the liquid one, contains alcohol if you're living outside of Iran, outside of Islamic countries. So you can always buy the powdered one. But this vanilla that I'm using is very high quality, so I'm just going to use like a few drops. Yeah, that's it.
Can we have something else instead, like rose water? Will
no.
it work?
Cinnamon rolls?
No, because
No.
like in some cakes, like for example cardamom cake, they go together. Like it's an Eastern style. But with cinnamon,
almond essence you can put in.
Essence, essence. But you don't have to add the vanilla, because just because we have eggs, it's gonna like maybe taste a little eggy. So now our dough is gonna do its magic. It's gonna mix. And slowly, as you can see, it's incorporating. So we're going to have this, after everything is mixed, we're going to have this mixed. And you see the butter, it was like a big blob of butter, but now everything is mixed. So we're going to have this mixed for about 5 minutes. And we're going to bring the speed a little higher.
No, I cannot raise any comments because really I have no idea about.
Yeah.
I have some ideas about cooking, but not baking.
I see.
So as you can see, all of the flour is incorporating inside the dough, and this is a sign that we have enough flour and enough liquid.
Also, you'd probably recommend that we use the freshly ground cinnamon, of course.
Oh yeah,
no?
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
or even
good,
if it's hand ground right there, or freshly ground.
Definitely.
Because it doesn't, the ones in the package don't have the smell of cinnamon.
All right, so if you can see, this needs more kneading with the hook, right? You can always knead totally with the hook, but you can flour your surface and just play with the dough a little. So this is how the consistency of the dough is supposed to look like, if the camera can show it. So see, it's not sticking to my hand, right? It's perfectly ready. Right, so now because I want to save some time, I've actually prepared a batch of dough. So this is ready. So while you guys go back with your program, I'm going to roll this out, and then inshallah we're going to be back with the next
we'd like
step.
to back to Ms. Shamili actually here.
Yeah,
so
let's continue our discussion.
Yes.
Right. So I was saying that, as Sister Nasreen said, and as you two beautifully pointed out, religion, specifically we're talking about Islam, is a lifestyle. And it gives you a set of values to live with, right?
Yes.
And if you remember, I shared with you that beautiful historical account with that lady and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, you know, the point is that we also have a lot of Quranic verses in different chapters of the Noble Quran. For instance, let me just read 1 or 2 for you. In chapter Baqarah, verse number 83, you read, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإذ أخذنا ميثاق بني إسرائيل لا تعبدون إلا الله وبالوالدين إحسانا.
Yes.
So what does it mean? And when we got that mithaq, we got that covenant from Bani Israel, from the children of Israel, that do not worship anyone but God. And look at this part. Besides prohibition of worshiping or serving anyone other than God, look what comes next. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And do good to your parents.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's as high, spiritually speaking, you know, respecting and doing good to parents is as high, spiritually speaking, as worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another verse from the Noble Quran, in chapter Nisa, which is the 4th chapter in the Noble Quran, verse number 36, a similar verse reads, وَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا. So worship and serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and do not get anyone, do not associate anyone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Again, in the same level of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the next stage is وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and doing good to your parents. What is the meaning of this? What is the significance of knowing this? Is that, you know, you get to grasp the significance or the depth of this verse, and also the historical account that I just shared with you, when you get to see what's going on in our lives, in today's societies, specifically in industrialized, very rich countries, where value is given to money, social status, better cars, bigger houses, you know. In such context, when you know the standing of parents, parenting, parenthood, then you can see that how you can set priorities in life.
Yes, that's
You're definitely right, especially in those developed countries. Today we have plenty of single parents, single mothers. How can Islam help single mothers?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Well, as my sister Zainab just mentioned, in many societies, a lot of divorces are happening, unfortunately. So many men and women, so many moms and dads, they're splitting up. And so usually, statistically speaking, mostly women take the responsibility of parenting after the divorce.
Yes.
So if you look at the teachings of Islam, you get to have a very beautiful picture of mothering and fathering. For example, we have different hadiths from starting from the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where addressing to Imam Ali alayhi salam, he said, as one of the rights, one of the duties of a parent, one of the duties of the parent for the child, one of the rights of the child upon the father is that he should name him well, choose a good name, and train him ethically, morally well, and help him to find a good career later on that he or she grows up, right? So what does this mean? This is about the noble Prophet telling Ali alayhi salam about the job, about the duty, about the role, about the right of a child upon the father. What does this mean? This means responsible fathering.
Yes.
This is what is lacking in many societies, in rich societies, where the father is usually either very, very passive, or if active, you know, to some extent, he's either in the margin, he's not in the main picture, he's not doing much.
Yes.
So nowadays, governments are doing a lot to you know, make dads, to draw dads back in the main picture, to be in the main frame, to be responsible. They're spending a lot of money, you know, they're doing a lot of research, they're doing a lot of programming to bring back the role of the father in the family, because the father can have a tremendous impact on the life of a child.
That's true.
Besides the mother, of course.
I want to go for the next question, actually.
Sure.
So far, we have been talking about Islam. I want to know, how is it about I mean, Christianity, or about Buddhism, or about Judaism?
Okay. Well, about Buddhism, I don't know, to tell you honestly, but about the divine faiths like Christianity and Judaism, we have also in the scripture, in the Bible, in both the New Testament and the Old Testament, there are many verses in them that tells its followers, the Christians and the Jews, to honor their parents, to respect them. Just let me read one for you from their scripture.
All right, while you're looking for that verse, let's go to the kitchen.
the dough has been working really beautifully. If they can show in the camera these little brown pieces, the brown dots, that's the brand that we use, which is actually quite healthy, and it's going to make us feel a little less guilty about eating this really good cinnamon bun. All right, so while you guys were talking, I went ahead and started rolling the dough. So you just have to flour your surface.
Yes.
So like this, yeah. So I did that already, and you have to just start rolling and rolling and rolling. You have to punch down to, oh, I forgot to say this, that when you make the dough, when you knead it for about 6 minutes with the machine or with your hands, you need to leave it in a warm place, cover it with a cellophane wrap, with a plastic wrap, and leave it in a warm place to rise. It doesn't necessarily have to double in size, but you will see that it actually rises, and that is what the yeast is doing for us. It's making a beautiful fluffy dough for us. So we punch down the dough, we start rolling it on I have a silicone mat that I find it very convenient, so I just flour that and I start rolling, right?
Yeah.
So it's non-stick, it's worked beautifully. Now I'm going to make the filling. All right, so this is pure cane sugar, brown sugar. So the actual sugar, the cane sugar is, the actual sugar is cane sugar.
Yes.
So this is the healthiest kind of sugar. It's not like white. It's sort of like whole wheat flour and white flour. They take all the nutrition from it. So we're using a pure cane sugar, which is actually, there's nothing to feel guilty about using it. And then I'm going to put this in a big mixing bowl. And then to this, I'm going to add my butter, which is again, room temperature or melted, 90 grams of butter, all right? And like I said again, we're not going to waste. We're going to take everything out. And then the magic, cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Right? So the whole point of making this
cinnamon rolls is cinnamon.
So I'm going to put, usually recipes call for about like 2 teaspoons, but I like it really cinnamony, if that's a word. So I'm going to add 2 generous tablespoons of cinnamon to this filling. All right?
If you use it freshly ground, do you need less?
I guess it depends on your personal liking. Like I said, most recipes, they don't call for 2 tablespoons. So like I just like it more cinnamony. So however you like it.
Yeah, it's a matter of taste, I guess.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So see, we sort of have a paste with this brown sugar and butter and cinnamon, right? We have a paste. You can add raisins to your cinnamon rolls. You can add raisins.
So also they add apples.
Yeah, you can add apples.
Maybe even apple puree.
Yeah. You can add nuts,
lemon,
walnuts to your cinnamon rolls.
Yeah,
but I like to keep it like plain and old-fashioned. So we're gonna empty all of this.
Like it healthy.
Yes, I think it's really healthy.
Cream cheese with walnuts.
I'm not gonna feel guilty, and it smells so good. So we're just going to spread this on the dough. We're gonna leave like some, like about 2 centimeters from the sides so it doesn't gush out. But it's going to be actually distributed quite fairly. I can say fairly because it's actually unfair to have a bite of cinnamon roll with no cinnamon paste in it. You know, some recipes, they say to just like put the butter, brush the butter on top, and then sprinkle the sugar on it. But I like to make a paste. I find it very, very convenient like this. All right, so what I wanted to tell you now is that you can roll this roll in 2 ways. You can either roll it lengthwise or widthwise, all right? So usually they tell you to roll it widthwise.
Yeah.
So you have like a really lots of circles.
Thick,
yeah, a thick roll. But you know, sometimes like when you want to have a lot of rolls, you can do it the other way around and get more rolls out of it. All right, so I think
You mean if you're on a diet?
Yeah.
And you want the smaller rolls?
Yeah.
More people?
All right. I just want to show you, I'm going to do the undietly way. And I'm going to go all the way and do the more rolls, right? So I'm going to take all the paste from here, and I'm going to roll it by the width, so we get less rolls, but fluffier, bigger ones. And remember, because we added, because this dough has eggs, it's quite fluffy. All right, so Bismillah. We are going to start rolling from the width. And I rotated the dough in a way that it's more convenient for me to roll. We don't have to roll it very tightly. We don't have to roll it loosely either, right? So we are just going to carefully roll this dough like so. Okay?
Excellent. Yeah, just
sounds
be,
delicious.
yeah, just
It
be
feels
sure
so
to
good. The dough
leave
feels
one
so
for
good.
me, or maybe two.
All right. Now, what I wanted to tell you before we actually shift is that
What's the difference between that and a Swiss roll? Swiss roll? Yes,
Swiss roll has cream
Cream,
and
yeah.
dried
Not
fruit
all of
and
them though.
stuff.
Some of them just have jam, right? So
Yeah.
it's the same
But
thing, really.
The dough, yeah, this dough recipe that I shared with you, brothers and sisters, this is very versatile. You can eliminate the filling, use it as sweet dinner rolls. You can decrease the sugar, use it as some kind of like a bread.
Like a biscuit
Yeah.
type thing for food.
So the magic that I use for the rolls is thread.
Yes.
I've tried so many times cutting with like a serrated knife, something really sharp, but this really does the trick for me. So you're gonna roll it around your fingers like this.
So that's the trick.
That's the trick for me, yeah. So we are going to cut this part like it's not even and it doesn't look beautiful, right? So we are just going to squeeze the thread like so.
Squeeze the life out of the cinnamon roll.
Exactly. So there, see?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
But that doesn't have any goodness in it, so we're going to
Yes.
go on to
That's
the
not
next.
mine, actually.
So while you guys continue with your program, I'm just going to cut this and put it in the oven.
I really wanted to
And
say
next
that.
time you see me, we're going to be smelling.
So we're gonna leave you alone with that
Cinnamony.
dough.
Yes,
so
go
let's
ahead.
go to Miss Shamili.
Yes.
So let's continue our talking. So you were looking for a verse. Hopefully you found it.
Yeah, I was looking in the Bible, and I found in the Old Testament in Exodus, chapter 20,
Yeah.
verse number 12, this verse that says, "Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be prolonged in the earth, which the Lord your God gives you." Again, in another part of the Bible, in Ephesians, verse number 6, verse number 1 to 3, verses number 1 to 3, chapter 6,
Okay.
where it says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother," which is this is actually the first commandment with a promise that it may be well with you and that you may live long on the earth. So as you can see, the divine religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, highly
The same it's like the same teaching, you know.
Exactly. Because
That's exactly
they're
what they
coming
had.
from the same roots.
Exactly.
The divine.
Sorry, I think there's a scientific point there that so that you may live long, that every deed that we often don't think about, Islam is a religion of science, right? So every deed that we do has a consequence. So the scientific
Definitely.
consequence of doing good to your parents, since they're the connection above you, which is below the Ahl Bayt and the Prophet, which is below the Allah, or actually one triangle, that rewards you a longer life. So if you're sick, for example, and I've tried this actually, that if you've got a pain and you pray for your parents, actually sometimes that pain, actually with me it always goes, but you know, these things are related and we think they're not related. We go to the doctor, we find all sorts of, but the best thing to do is to pray for our parents.
Yeah, that's so
And
true.
then not only does it take care of your children's behavior with you and their health, but it also takes care of our own long life.
Yeah,
Right,
good
that's
point.
true. Yeah,
So you
Yes.
see, you can actually see that there's like a two-sided relationship between the father and the mother. Like you're looking at the topic from different dimensions, from different windows. From one window, you see the value of mothering. How? By telling you that if you become pregnant, if you breastfeed your child, it's like you're fighting in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
And if you die, you have the rank of shahada, you have the rank of martyrdom. This is on one side of the coin.
Yes.
On the other side, this is where parents get the stimulation, they get the energy, the power to become good, determined, with full power,
Yes.
to become good parents in their
Yes.
lives.
Yes.
Rather than to just look at this life, that never makes you happy. I mean, the material goals that we are after, really a prestigious job or more money, they bring you some kind of short-lived happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
really temporary. I have experienced, that, you're looking for something, but when you get that, when you reach that point, then it's done,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there is no satiation, there is no there is no fulfillment of
Yeah,
thirst.
the next step, you're looking for the next one.
You become more greedier and greedier. But with parenting, those who have experienced just a glance at your beautiful child, your son or your daughter, gives you so much energy.
Oh, really?
It's so beautiful. Have you
That's true.
experienced?
That's definitely true.
Yeah, at some points,
I couldn't agree more.
in some moments, they make you tired. Like you think that you've done all that you could. You put into practice all the things that you've been taught,
Yes,
but it doesn't
exactly.
work sometimes.
Exactly.
But
That's
then,
true.
After all these hardships, you get the reward. I mean,
Yes.
just by a simple smile on their faces,
Exactly.
makes your heart so warm.
That's true. Unconditional love.
Yeah, unconditional love.
Exactly.
And as Sister Nasreen was saying, I don't know about the scientific, I don't know if any research has been done with regards to the scientific impact of, looking at the faces of your parents, but there are
looking at the faces of your parents, praying for your parents,
praying and even looking. Did you know that
Yeah.
we have a hadith in which
Yeah.
just looking at the faces of your parents can
In a nice
prolong
way.
your
Kindly,
life.
yes,
In a
definitely.
nice way.
Kindly, of course.
It's so
No,
beautiful.
but you know
Yeah,
when you
that's
were
so
saying
beautiful,
about
amazing.
this when you put everything in and you don't get the results you want, just turn to Allah, do your du'as, and it always comes round.
Exactly.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Yes, you're right.
That's right.
To block you, I just want to show
Wow.
this result that we cut the cinnamon rolls, and we're going to cover it for about 15 to 20 minutes until they double in size, and then it's going to go inside the oven.
Thank you. My
That's
mouth
great.
is watering. Yes. Okay.
That's great.
Nice.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
They
we're
look
ready
really
for
good.
more, actually.
Yeah.
I can't get enough, honestly.
Yeah, actually, the field of my research, I've been trying to focus my researches on fathering and the role of the father in a family life, because so far there has been so much research, so much has been said
Yes.
about the role of a mother
Yes.
in
You're
a
right.
child's life. Like there's so many books. Like
Yes,
you just mentioned
exactly.
mothering, like there are
Yes.
like hundreds of books on
Yes,
mothering.
exactly.
But when it comes to fathering, usually people, they say, well, yeah, the role of the father is breadwinning.
Yes.
Yes.
To provide
yes.
the
You're right.
maintenance of a child and the mother. But there is so much more to it. There's a deep
But
meaning
in Islam
to
we see that.
fathering.
Yeah, Islam has it. It's just that the West doesn't have it.
Yes.
If you look at even the idea of inheritance or will, when you think of the idea of inheritance, you think money.
Yeah.
But what do we see with Imam Ali and Imam Hassan? He tells them not to forget Allah, to pray, to the inheritance. What we leave behind is our legacy.
You just mentioned something very, very beautiful. I just wanted to share with our...
If I talk long enough, I might find something.
I was just going to share with our dear brothers and sisters who are watching us right now. I was looking...
So, Ms. Shamali, just before going to this, let's go for the second part of the discussion time.
Sure.
So stay tuned and look at the second part of discussion time.
Yes, we'll be back.
Everyone has a fitra also. We have guidance.
Yeah, really?
If we listen to our heart You know, when your heart speaks, then listen to it. Don't ignore your heart.
I just forgot about you. You are a live example here. Can you just tell me about your story about being Muslim, becoming Muslim? You became.
I don't know. I used my mind. You know, I had. It wasn't easy. First of all, when in Germany, it was double difficult for me. My father, he studied music in Berlin when he was young. And he had to come home and do the wine business. We had a big wine business. And then he used to play the organ in the church. He had a big choir, he was the conductor and all that. And I had to sing in the church.
Great.
And somebody got married. And at that, when I was young, 100 years ago, they had, the mass was done in Latin language. You had to sing everything in Latin language, you know. It came easy to me at the end. And somebody got married. But I used to, you know, I was so unhappy with what there was. To start with the Pope. He's presenting Isa alayhi salam, walking around in gold, and even his toilet is gold plated. And he's wearing brocade, and he lives like a king. And and my father, he had a kind of private audience with the Pope. Oh my God, when he came home, he was like God to him. And I hated him. So we had always this, you know, I disagreed with everything with this Catholic religion. We had to go for confession. It's a very hard religion. Catholic is very hard. Islam is an easy religion, you know, because what you do, it doesn't only have benefit for the hereafter, it has benefit in this life. Everything you do, and you know the halal and haram. My mother always said, she said, you know, Trudy, my Christian name was Trudy, Trudy Earth, which means arch. The arch of paradise. Earth, my name was, see, I already had the name to go to heaven. So, but she used to say, you know, Trudy knows exactly what to do. They have rules for everything, which a Christian religion has no laws. You know, we can do whatever we want, basically. But, you know, we are taught to be good and all that, but we don't have laws for halal and haram. And our Holy Prophet said, Allah said in Quds, he said, the one who is not particular about halal and haram, and I don't care from which door I throw him into hellfire.
Let's talk about children, about the first 7 years and
three stages, as
stages
Prophet
of
Muhammad has mentioned them
Very
before.
good.
Well, I can give the difference between religious children and non-religious children from what I've seen.
very good.
For example, I had my cousins in Canada, and then we had their friends, the non-Muslims we knew, the Muslims and the non-Muslims. For example, my cousins, they had like these rules. They could do this, they couldn't do that. They had some goals, some ideas, some destination in mind with their life, what they're doing from day to day. But the non-Muslims, they just did whatever there was. Like they're playing a game without rules. Yeah, so like sort of they were more wise because they understood the result. Okay, these people do this, but look at the result of it.
The life is more purposeful.
Yeah, they have more purpose. That's just what I'm trying to get to.
Non-Muslim or non-religious,
Religious people have more purpose.
So religious people,
Yeah.
not necessarily, Muslims.
Religious.
Yeah, religious people, they live more in the mind, whereas people without religion live more in pleasure. Yeah.
There are two ayahs in Quran that really give meaning to your life. They give a huge meaning to your life. And that is فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. This is the big difference between a Muslim's life and a person who is not a Muslim, okay? So a Muslim...
Translation, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you knew that. Okay, Quran says that if you do the smallest good thing, we observe it carefully, and you will be rewarded for that. And vice versa, if you do the smallest bad thing, you will be punished for that carefully. So This is this actually gives a great meaning to your life. So you know that's for every single thing that you do in the daily life.
This is exactly what I was talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, everything is important.
Everything, everything that you tell people, every look that you give people, even every smile that you give people, and
everything you teach to your children. Okay, if you're not able to teach your children to be respectful, okay, later they are going to disrespect you. You're going to just suffer the consequences.
Well, they say like if you want your children to be in a certain way, then you be that way.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
You have to be that way. You have to be strict with yourself.
Yes.
Because like you were saying, to be careful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, be careful of your duty to Allah. He didn't say, if not the I kick you again, I say so again. No, that's not the way. Like we have a saying of Tao, you know Tao the Chinese one. He said that take big things lightly. You know your problem, take them lightly. But small things, take them seriously. Because small things sometimes lead you towards very big disasters, you know, because we're negligent, but like you were saying, you know, they have no goal. Do you sit in your car and you're just driving around till you run out of petrol? No, you want to know where you're going. You know, and when you run out of petrol, when you die, oh, I'm out of petrol now, I have to go in my grave. I'm dying before I've lived. They died before they lived.
Let me change the surface of my question. Are we allowed to not tell our children do's and don'ts during their first 7 years? Are we allowed to?
You shouldn't send out your children to work, no, first 7 years, but you should teach them manners, you should teach them religion. A child goes to school. It's not the job of a teacher to teach them the manners. Your parents, they have to learn them at home.
Yes.
Train your child the first 7 years, and then it means don't give them hard jobs to do which they cannot do as a child. But it doesn't mean they should do what they like.
Yes.
You have another riwayah that teach your children La ilaha illallah means monotheism at the year of 7. At the year 7.
Yeah.
Do you believe it?
They should know how to
we
wait
teach
till
them
7.
sooner?
No.
No,
we shouldn't just teach them correctly.
It's 3.
When we are practicing
Yeah,
when we are practicing it, when we are saying prayer in our home, when we when we say prayer everywhere, my child is just around me,
Practically,
and he is
you are
affected by it.
teaching them.
Practically.
By practice, we teach them what to do.
Everything just takes time.
Exactly. And one of the philosophy of reciting the Subh prayer louder than the other times is because of that all of the family members, including children, know that you are getting up and you are reciting your prayers.
And we shouldn't let them be free like plant to grow, okay? They're not just like plants, okay? We can get them, for example, to morning ceremonies of Musa, so that after 7 years or after 10 years, they're not going to they're not going to ask, what is this ceremony for?
Exactly.
Why should we cry over a catastrophe that happened 1,400 years ago?
You should teach them indirectly how to pray. When you are praying and your kid is 7 years old, he will come to you and say, please teach me how to pray. And this is because
But sometimes we need somebody to say some good sentences to us, to preach us, okay? As a child even, as a 10-year-old guy. I remember that before the 10 years old, when I was 9 years old or 8 years old, I was dead set against saying prayers. My parents, every member of my family, they were all religious, but I was dead set against saying it because I just believe that it's nothing but washing some parts of your body and just bending toward a direction which no one knows which direction it goes. And then, this was my belief. And then, when I was 10 or 11 years old, one of my friends who was older than me, and he said, God doesn't need your prayers. If you want to say it or not, it makes no difference in this universe. You say it, you're going to be known as a good person between angels and for God. And if you don't say it, you're not going to be rewarded. You're going to be just like a worm. If you want to be better than a worm in this universe, do something that shows that you are human. And from then I started to say my prayers.
So you mean we should pray for the sake of ego? Those angels are talking about me, I'm going to go pray.
Yeah, as a child, you can just think about this matter. Later, you are going to think about divine reasons for yourself. But as a 10 years old guy, yeah, you can think about if I just say my prayers, angels are going to like me.
A child must respect the parent and the action. When it's praying time, when they hear the azan, there should be no television in the house. There should be no nothing going on, because the praying time, our Holy Prophet said, when you hear the azan, then remember the horror of Day of Judgment.
It's the fact that nothing can be taught by punishment. You know, if you punish someone, you cannot teach him anything.
You know, it depends on
How-
the way you punish.
Both punishment and rewarding are required.
Yeah, because that is what I mean. But if you do it when the child is 5 years old, it will know what's right. And afterwards, it has to, you shout, you hit. Till 5, you don't have to. You should look at the child and try to know, oh, mama is not happy. You know?
Even the way of looking can be a kind of punishment.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Punishment is
If the
not always
children
guaranteed.
if the children get the signals, they understand themselves. You know, all of the way of looking, the way of shaking the hands or the head, all of them are kind of signals for the children.
Yes, it's
that-
it's not a punishment.
You know,
Our friend without child.
they are the signals that the children may get them and understand that a punishment is coming for them.
Sometimes you can just punish somebody by taking the advantages, not giving the disadvantages. Yes.
Children's weapon, screaming, you know, they shout. Sometimes there are children in the haram. They shout, and the mother, they don't say the mother, I said, is this your mother? Everybody has to listen to their children, be not brought up, or then you go to the restaurant and they try and teach them manners in the restaurant. A child behaves outside like it behaves at home. If it can do whatever it likes at home, it will do it outside too. But I don't have to put up with your monsters you're inflicting on the whole society.
We should teach them how to behave in the public places.
Yes, no,
It's
exactly.
the kind of treatment.
We should teach them how to behave in public places, but at the same time, he's right. They do this stuff to grow up. For example, my brother Dean, I have two. One is very noisy.
And naughty.
Yeah, and the other one is older, but when he was younger, he was naughty. But now, in the neighborhood, he's known as a very polite and quiet boy.
How it comes?
He watched around himself and he understood if he just behaves like a hooligan, people won't like him.
But I think because we are almost, over, let's back to the topic, and I want to maybe end it with this. What is the thing that actually help us to keep our nose clean? Not to follow...
Water.
What?
Water. Wazoo.
Okay.
Keep our nose clean. Wazoo.
Yeah. Okay. So no, come on, really. So we are trying all to stay in the frame that we believe this is called religion. So how? You think we are just controlled by religion in order not to follow crime, not to do anything against humanity, and keep our nose clean? What do you think about it? I just want to know this. Is it only religion? And if it's religion, which aspect of that?
And if it's not religion,
And don't open a new door. We are trying to close the door on the so just have the conclusion.
what is it? Okay, maybe as the other sister just put back, that atheists are just telling and teaching their children to be honest, okay, to have integrity. I don't know, all these things, okay, that in Islam are recommended. But they have just missed a name, religion. Otherwise, it's all religion, it's nothing else, okay? So, if it's not religion, so we can call it what? It's humanity. Okay, humanity is part of religion.
Yeah.
So I think the best way, maybe there are some other ways that you can try to train your children, but the best way to train them, the way that you want to just have them in society, they want to face different problems of life is teaching them the rules and commands of their religion.
Whatever we call it and we name it, religion, ethics can help our children to behave very well. I mean that it means whenever our children believe in something deeply, they can behave correctly. Their self-control will increase. And I think that religion, of course, will affect on our parenting and on our family life. And thank you for your time. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Hey, Chiro.
Welcome back. First of all, I want to say salam. Behalf of my sister Nasreen, she left us, but so I'm here to take actually her place. So let's go to the kitchen. You can't believe how awesome is the smell. So I want to go to Fatih. So Fatih, you have the camera.
Yes. So I'm going to take the rolls out of the oven. They've been baking for about 20 minutes and they are ready. So while they're still hot, we are going to brush them with either milk or butter. It depends on what you like. I'm just going to make it keep it a little healthier.
Yes.
Because I brushed them with butter before they went into the oven. So in order to keep them really soft, I'm going to brush them with some milk. And there we are. But I'm going to come back. I have to actually show you how to make the frosting. So cinnamon rolls are actually really, really popular with their icing that they have, right?
Yes.
Some people have them with cream cheese frosting, but
Yes.
I think icing is the best.
Icing is the, yeah, that's
Personally,
the
I just like them plain like this because that's just too much sugar for my blood.
Yes.
But I'm going to show it for those people who like it. So we are going to continue brushing every single roll
Yes.
with milk. All right, now we're going to go to the...
So did you go for the thing that you wanted me to remind you?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So when I was talking about the dough, when we are actually finished with the dough, when it has risen, we are going to use a spray of oil, right? When the dough is actually completely kneaded and it's ready, we are going to spray it with some oil. And please try to invest in good quality oil, olive oil, sesame oil. Don't go for the cheap oils that are out there because it's all going to go in our stomach, and in a few years it's going to show the result. So we're going to spray it with some good quality olive oil, turn it and toss it. Make sure that all of the dough is covered in oil. We're going to cover it and leave it until it rises. So now I'm going to go ahead with the frosting. This is powdered sugar, or confectioner's sugar as it's known. To be honest, I really don't like going by like crazy recipes that ask for like 5 cups of icing sugar. That's crazy. So I'm just going to do 2. If it was me, I would just do 1, but since I know there are people here who want me to be generous with the icing. So we're going to use 2 cups of icing sugar. All right, now remember, we want a consistency that's like a sauce, like caramel, right? Mm-hmm. So we are just going to add enough milk to this sugar to make it like a paste, so it actually sort of like pours from our spoon. So we're going to start with 2 tablespoons of milk for this much sugar, and we're just going to mix it. You can also add vanilla to this, but I don't think it's necessary. All right, so we obviously need more. Pay attention to which country you're living in. Sorry, your level of altitude. It definitely has an effect on how much you need to add. So from here on, we're gonna eyeball it. So I'm just gonna make the sauce, and then I'm gonna come back with the final product.
So let's go to Miss Shamandi.
That's great. I definitely, I believe that we only live once for cinnamon rolls, honestly. All right, let's go back to our own discussion. You were talking about the fathering, responsible fathers, and what the meaning of fathering is, actually. You said that it's not just breadwinners being a breadwinner, but there must be something, but we need clarification, actually. Would you please clarify it?
As I said, the main issue that comes to a person's mind when the topic of fathering or when the name of a father is brought up, you think of money.
Yes,
Right?
definitely.
That he provides for your clothes, for your shelter, for your food, for your travel expenses, and so on.
Yes.
But according to the rich Islamic teachings that we have, there is so much more about fathering than just money issues. Than the
But
financial
money is
aspect.
part of it.
Of course,
Yes.
money is part of it, definitely, no question. But besides money, there are so many other instructions that we have to pay attention to. Just as our sister Nasreen, before leaving, she mentioned, she said, usually fathers leave behind, usually when the topic of fathering is raised, and when a father passes away, we think of how much, so many people think, how much did his children inherit from him? How much money did he leave behind? Enough to live a happy and easy life until the rest or not? But there's a beautiful tradition that's it's one of my favorite. I love it. That says that, let me read the Arabic tradition for you. It's from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, the 6th Shiite leader. It says, إن خير ما ورث الآباء لأبنائهم الأدب لا المال فإن المال يذهب والأدب يبقى. It's so beautiful.
It's deep.
It's so deep. I mean, if every man, if every father really grasped the deep meaning of this hadith, I think so many of the family issues the family complexities, family challenges that we have in our families, they would be non-existent. Yes. So the meaning of this hadith is that the best of inheritance that fathers leave for their sons is adab. What is adab?
Yeah, what is that? It needs to be clarified. And defined. Yes. Definitely.
Adab means proper ethical education, proper moral education, a deep child raising. Lal mal, not money. Why? Because al mal yadhab, money, wealth goes away, it finishes. Wal adabu yabqa. But this, the moral qualities that a father leaves for his children, they remain until the rest of his life. And from one generation until the next, all these moral qualities, all these moral values, these ethical values are transferred.
Yes.
Actually, this is so deep from every aspect that you look at it. But it puts a heavy burden, a heavy responsibility on the shoulder of the father.
Definitely.
In order to teach adab, or the moral etiquettes, the good ethical education for your child, you yourself as a father has to be completely trained, developed.
Yeah.
So you have to work on yourself. You work on your nafs, your spirit, your actions, your treatment to your wife. All these, you're the role model for your son. He will be the future father of another family. And this is a rich inheritance that Islam significantly values and treasures.
Yes, that's beautiful.
And in order to have, in order to transfer, one point that we have to mention is that, this question might be raised in your mind, so what's the role of the mother?
Yeah, somehow, but it's not. Mothers always are busy with different roles. Always when it's coming to mothering,
exactly.
It's something.
But some of them are really cliche, like cooking. When it comes to
household
mothering, cooking takes the floor. So we think this stands on top. So, but when we go for other roles, we have to think a lot to know what can be other roles.
It can be the same as the father that we said. It's not just the breadwinner, but something more than that. It's going to be the same for the mother. It's not just cooking and doing the whole household chores or dusting or I don't know, cleaning.
Especially
it must
nowadays,
be something more.
Especially nowadays, so moms bring bread and bacon to home too, of course. So I think roles are getting different. I don't know. There are a lot of responsibilities, that both goes to mom and dad. So I think it's a bit mixed up nowadays.
That's true. Well, the role of the mother goes much deeper, much further than just the house chores. You know, the cooking, cleaning, washing. These are not actually the role of a mother.
Yes, you're right. Islamically speaking, these are not her duties.
These are not her duties.
No.
The role of the mother can start prior to even bringing a child into this world. The father, I think his role also starts from prior to the birth of a child by providing halal food.
Yes.
Definitely. The
And
mother is going
she consumes, she eats all these
Yes.
food. It's going to have spiritual impact on the
Definitely.
child. Her own feelings, scientifically, so many things, these have been proven that the feeling of the mother, the emotions of the mother is transferred to the child within her womb.
Yes.
And so the bond, the deep, profound bond between the mother and the child starts much before pregnancy.
Yeah,
And
that's important because of the father, how the husband actually is going to treat the mother, the wife,
Exactly. This is practical adab.
Exactly.
Practical moral etiquette that the father is, you don't necessarily have to formally educate your children. Rule number 1, today we're going to talk about that. No.
Yes.
It won't work.
It's not like that.
Thank you, sisters. I guess cinnamon roll is ready.
Oh.
So let's go to the kitchen.
All right. So the cinnamon roll is ready. And I just want to show you the consistency of the sauce, the
icing,
frosting. It has to drip from your spoon, So you're just going to eyeball it. You're just going to add little amounts of milk until you reach this consistency. So now I want to share with you all the joy of pouring this frosting over our cinnamon roll.
That's
and
great.
There we go.
So beautiful.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Can I
That's
add
great.
more?
Please come and
to
try.
mine? Can I add more?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to add something to your discussion, and I think it's very important to highlight the fact that in Islam, the role of a mother, it's actually not even the responsibility of a mother to do anything at home, not even breastfeeding. She can be paid by her husband.
Yes,
she can hire a maid. You know, that's really important. I think this is a point that is lost in today's life. Everybody thinks that, oh, Muslim women, they're oppressed. Oh, they're always kept in the house. They're forced to wear hijab. They're beaten, la, la, la. But it's so wrong, you know, the fact that women are so much respected.
Capable.
And cherished.
Capable.
Men can do this too. I think that, it is an art, a skill to be able to like be a good cook, just like any other skill.
Yes.
To speak many languages, to, for example, be a good handyman or handywoman. But the responsibility of a woman is really like to train a human being.
Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you. That was the
very much.
greatest one.
All right, now
Thank
come
you.
on. Everybody come and try it.
Can I try it too?
Yeah, please come. Let's cut into it.
I am not going to go for a piece.
Here you go. Please, Roya.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to take a small piece.
Please
Very
go
small
ahead.
piece.
It's your
So
first
Min,
time.
just Ms. Shamali, you first.
It's
so
your first time
no, you
trying
first.
cinnamon
Yes,
roll.
it's
Try it.
actually my
So
first
you try
time.
first.
So, okay, let's go for a smile.
Yeah, that's why
Right.
you're going for the smallest
Actually,
one.
it has no cinnamon, but
Thank you.
It's just a roll.
yeah,
It's
it's
not
just a roll, actually.
It's really fluffy, soft, and
Delicious.
hot.
Definitely
It is. Honestly, believe me, it's very delicious.
beautiful.
I have tried different types of cinnamon rolls in different countries, but this one is amazing.
It is really.
And I just want to add that because we used bran and because we used cane sugar, it's actually quite healthy. Except the frosting.
But I like that. Yeah. As I said, you live only once.
Yeah, that's
All
amazing.
right.
Thank you very much. That was really
Yes.
great. That was great.
Thanks for being with us. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be with you, inshallah, later. Don't forget to send us messages, email us. You can see the numbers and everything on the screen right now. Plant the seed of faith and religion in your children, and then you can reap after that, even when you are in the next world. Goodbye. Have a nice time.
O he remembering, whom brings honor to those who remember. O He thanking, whom brings triumph to those who give thanks. O He obeying, whom brings deliverance to those who obey. Bless Muhammad and his household, and divert our hearts through remembering Thee from every act of remembrance, our tongues through thanking Thee from every act of thanksgiving, our limbs through obeying Thee from every act of obedience. If Thou hast ordained for us idleness from these occupations, make it an idleness of safety, within which no ill consequence visits us, or weariness overtakes us. Then deriders of evil deeds may depart from us with a page empty of the mention of our evil deeds, and the writers of good deeds may turn away from us, happy with the good deeds of ours which they have written. And when the days of our life have passed by, the terms of our lifetimes have elapsed, and thy call which must come and be answered summons us forth, then bless Muhammad and his household, and make the outcome of what the writers of our works count against us an accepted repentance, which afterwards gave us no rest in a sin that we committed, or an act of disobedience that we performed. Remove not from us any covering with which Thou hast covered over the heads of the witnesses on the day when the records of Thy servants are tried. Verily, Thou art compassionate to him who supplicates Thee, the responder to him who calls upon Thee.